I got a condo in Manhattan. Baby girl, what's happening? You and your invited, so gonna get to clapping. Go pop it for a plan, pop it for me. Turn around and drop it for a plan, drop it for me. I'll rent a beach house in Miami. Wake up with no jammies. Lobster tail for dinner. Julio served that scampi. You got it if you want it. Got it if you want it. Said you got it if you want it. Take my wallet if you want it now. Jump in the Cadillac. Girl, let's put some miles on it. Anything you want, just to put a smile on it. You deserve it, baby. You deserve it all. And I'm gonna give it to you. Gold jewelry shining so bright. Strawberry champagne on us. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. By the fire at night. Sound.
I hope everybody enjoyed that. This is V. Wallace with your main man, JC Jimmy Clark, and this is Sports Rehab, where all the sports addicts go. And I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed Jimmy dancing to Bruno Mars. I was back there watching this, and I will tell you I was more than a little bit amused.
Yes, well, you're welcome, Vince.
Yeah,
you're welcome, Vince.
That just about made my day right there. I don't know what else to say about it. Hey, if it did, hopefully it made the day of somebody else out there listening.
Right.
Absolutely hilarious. Well, Jimmy, we're back at it. We're an hour earlier than normal.
Yep.
Yeah, got off a little early. I said, Jimmy, let's go ahead and tackle it, man. Let's go ahead and take care of business.
Got some stuff to talk about today.
Got some stuff. We had a pretty exciting week. I got the 5 mics. Let me make sure. I always got to check this last one to make sure I didn't hit the buttons over here. I think we're good.
Good deal.
And so, since we last spoke, there's been a lot of sports, a lot of activity, a lot of fun things going on. Namely, the World Series took place. We also had, I think, Tiger Woods, but almost ready to return to golf. Not really ready to see that just yet. We also had a football game between the Cowboys of Dallas and the Redskins of Washington.
We did.
That's a coming to America reference for those that don't know.
Yes.
Oblong football.
I don't know if you would call it a football game, but there was a contest between the two.
There was a contest. And so we're definitely going to dig into that. Anything in particular you have going on this week, Jimmy?
Man, not a lot. Just trying to get that job thing going on, and other than that,
You're applying for CEO of what company?
Yeah, of America.
CEO of America? Okay. Trump's not doing the job,
no,
right?
he ain't doing it right. So
Jimmy's ready to step in.
No, man, but a lot of sports this week, and man, there's good, there's bad, there's ugly to talk about, and
by ugly we mean the Washington Redskins.
Well, okay, I submit that it was rigged.
It was rigged. I mean, it was teed up. That's what that was.
So, no, but man, speaking of rehab, we got injuries galore. The shape of the game of football is getting changed daily.
Yeah, and we're going to touch on that. Let's start out with the World Series. It was just
definitely.
Last night.
Yeah.
This was a highly anticipated game because the series had been so great.
Yeah, boring game.
A boring game, but I mean great from the standpoint of the series itself. I think I mean, not too many words I can describe, especially games 1 through 5.
Right.
Yeah, were pretty exciting. So,
right.
Give me an idea, Jimmy. What was your take on the series, and what was your take on the game last night?
Yeah, so the series as a whole, one thing that I think baseball in general is incredibly happy about is the fact that you had a market team in Houston.
Big market.
But not big baseball market.
True.
This is a team that in 2005 went to the World Series against the White Sox, got swept, was never in a single game. And it was the diametric opposite of what happened, because in that series, great pitching won and dominated. And Vince, for the first time over a series that I can remember, we saw great hitting beat great pitching.
Was the pitching great?
Okay. It was great on almost everybody's part, except one former Ranger great, Yu Darvish.
For those that did not watch the series, Jimmy, would you explain to them what Yu Darvish did?
So Yu Darvish pitched a combined 3 innings in 2 games. The two shortest outings of his career happened to come in back-to-back games on the biggest stage, making me feel quite a bit better about the trade that happened.
Yu Darvish has pitched in 137 games total. In 137 games, he's only had 2 appearances in which he did not record a strikeout. That would be
Game
2 in the World Series
Yes.
that he started. So from his standpoint, I mean, I hate to say it, but he looked horrible in the series and probably cost the Dodgers a championship.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I do, because you've won an emotionally draining Game 6, but you're at home. You've put the Astros significantly back on their heels, and to come out like that, and first 3 batters you face, just tattooing the ball.
Oh yeah.
So, I commend the Dodgers organization, the entire staff. You saw them all on the phone going, "We can cut it. We got to cut it." You know, you can't go with a guy who is, again, failing to miss bats.
Now, do you think he should have been allowed to come out in the second? Not that it would have mattered, but I'm just curious to know what you thought.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely do. I mean, I will say this: Yu Darvish has proven himself to be an excellent strikeout pitcher.
Yes.
You know, as it stands right now, he has the highest ratio of strikeouts per 9 of anybody this far into a career.
Yes.
So it's not that this guy can't pitch. I don't think it's so much even to do with the fact that the Dodgers pitching staff did some alterations to his delivery. I think it's the fact that he was slightly off, and that's okay. To be on a stage like that, you're going to have some nerves. But to pair that with bats that are on point, you lose.
And I agree with you because I watched the game and I didn't feel like he had horrible stuff. And from my estimation, now I think he started to get a little shaky in that second inning when he gave up the big home run.
No doubt.
But in the first inning, he didn't look all that shaky. Now you had a couple of errors there, and I think Yu Darvish is one of those players. And I'm sorry, Jimmy. I do believe that nerves got the better of him and can get the better of him.
Yeah.
And so, first inning, you saw it creep in. By the time the second inning came about,
Done.
I think it was done. It was done. It was done to the point that you knew the home run was coming, and you've been preaching it all season. He gives up the home run at the most inopportune time, and we saw that last night. That's why I text you. This is Yu Darvish being Yu Darvish.
Yeah, and
this is what he does.
It's amazing. I don't wish ill on any professional athlete. I don't. But when you see all year long, I have been talking about the fact that as much as good pitching is hard to come by, you can in a league now built around hitting home runs, you can't be the guy giving them up. And would I like to see Darvish back in a Ranger uniform next year? I still would.
But I don't know if I want him at the salary that he's going to command on the open market.
Not at all.
I think Darvish is probably best suited for 2 or 3rd starter.
Yep.
I don't think he's got the mental makeup where I say I want to count on this guy to bring me rings.
Right.
And right now in the AL West, let's be frank, Houston's going to dominate for a while, more than likely.
They have 7 players, Vince, under the age of 27.
Wow.
And on the cheap, that is going to create. Remember, baseball has no salary cap.
Right.
And Houston just took a huge shot in the arm with revenue because you piggyback this on. I mean, this is New Orleans all over again. They came out and won after Katrina. The Saints tied that city back together. Houston has just done the same thing.
Yes.
And so with that shot in the arm and building the emotional bond with that, I know every one of these players is going to get their dollars. I get that. But I think there's a much higher likelihood that they get those dollars in Houston going forward. A significant portion of them.
Probably more so than ever before.
Yeah.
You see that Altuve is going to get his money. Correa is going to get his money.
Springer's going to get paid.
Springer just won an American League championship. just won a World Series.
MVP.
And he's an MVP of the World Series.
Yes.
Leadoff hitter, just smacked the most home runs.
Yeah.
In a World Series.
Unbelievable.
Period.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're talking about guys like Barry Bonds has been
Right.
to a World Series.
Right.
Some of the best hitters ever.
McGuire.
Reggie Jackson.
Yes.
And he just surpassed all of them. A lot younger guy.
Against guys like Kershaw.
Yes.
That's the thing. This guy did it against a very stout pitching staff.
Yes.
So, dude, props to Houston. I mean, I'm a Texas guy. I like to see Texas teams do well. There is a part in my heart right now that is draining Ranger blood because they now have a World Series before we do.
First World Series here in Texas.
Yeah.
Goes to the Houston Astros. It's kind of hard to swallow as a Ranger fan.
Yeah.
And I was cheering for the Houston Astros primarily because in the beginning I picked them to win. I
Right.
just want to point that out. You know the show wouldn't go on
Right.
much further without me
Vince
mentioning
has
that.
to talk about him being right that one
Well,
time.
my crystal ball is just extremely accurate. That's
Oh.
all I can say, Jimmy.
Weird.
What can I tell you? What can I tell you? But it was a great series. I thought it was one of the better ones that I've seen. If they would have had a great Game 7, this probably would have went down as the greatest series
No doubt.
in Major League Baseball.
No doubt. Yeah, the Game 7 was done before the second inning was over.
And you knew it was done.
Right.
And
Oh,
Darvish ended it.
yes.
That walk to McCann, and when he walked McCann, I mean, it was done.
Yes.
I knew then, and you knew the home. Did you know the home run was coming?
Oh, yeah. You
knew-
just feel it.
You knew
You're just
the
sitting
home
there
run was
going,
coming.
just watch. Here it comes. Oh, and there it goes.
And there it goes. And there it goes. And that's
Dead
the way you
shot
looked
to
at it.
center field, too.
It was a moonshot, too.
Yeah.
It was a
God.
moonshot. You had to love it. I hated it for Darvish. I would have liked to have seen Darvish do well
Sure.
as an ex-Ranger. But in my heart of hearts, I didn't believe he was.
No.
I didn't believe he was. I just don't think that – and it's hard to say a player doesn't have the mental makeup. But we've seen him now show who he is. And, I mean, we saw it this season. At the worst of times, he gives up that home run ball.
And it is painful to watch, but how many times have we said you knew that was coming just in the
Right.
season?
Right. And even his last game as a Ranger, what did he give up, like 8 runs?
8
or
runs.
Something like that? He gave up 8 runs his last game as a Ranger, and you're looking at this going, did he just fall apart right in front of us?
Right.
So he has that inside of him. It would make me nervous to pay a guy like that $250 million.
Yeah, I do believe that to some degree his price is set just because starting pitching is so difficult to come by, especially a guy with as many pitches and such good strikeout stuff as he's got. And let's not ever forget, you need guys like that to get you to the World Series. You can't win it if you don't get there. But is he a guy that you look at it from a managerial standpoint and go, you got us here, have a seat over there.
Yeah.
We appreciate. You know what? We'll take you home. You just cash your checks.
You've been top end of the rotation up to this point.
Right.
But we're going to push it back.
Right.
I mean, we might even – you got to think he was the number 3 starter, though.
Right.
So even in a playoff series, you got to put – and he was effective. You got to – let's not jump the gun. He was effective in the first 2 rounds
no doubt.
of the playoffs.
No
he
doubt.
Was. I want to say he had a .88 ERA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, he looked
great.
absolutely wonderful. No one saw this kind of a meltdown coming from Darvish.
No.
I did. You did, because we've seen him here in Texas.
You feel it. I mean, just
You knew it was going to happen. But national media, I don't think no one saw Yu Darvish just melting right there on the mound.
Yeah.
In 2 separate games back to back.
right. You do it once, okay. Understand nerves. You do it
Right.
twice. This is a part of your makeup.
Right. Now we've got a pattern of behavior here.
Right.
And we all can convict on a pattern of behavior.
Yep.
Now, let me ask you this question, Jimmy. Should Kershaw have gotten that start over Darvish?
That's a tough one because Kershaw obviously has had injury issues in his career with his back, but can adrenaline and a cortisone get you through that? Probably so. So, yeah, I do think so. My buddies that I was watching the game with, we were sitting there going, I would not be shocked to see Kershaw come out in the second. And when Darvish came out, part of it, I think, is the manager going, if I bring him out in the second without Darvish even coming out for the second inning, it's me proving to myself that I was wrong in not starting Kershaw.
Well, he was wrong.
I agree.
And I'm going to tell you, and I know it's hindsight, but we always hear this in the Game 7s in baseball. It's all hands on deck.
Yeah.
Right? So you go to Kershaw and you ask him, how many innings do you think you have in yourself? And if he tells you he's got 4, I'm starting Clayton Kershaw.
Right.
And he had 4.
Right.
4 innings of phenomenally pitched baseball.
Yep.
So I believe you go with the dog that you know is the meanest.
Yeah.
You know is the one that's got the stuff to do it, and it's got, from what you saw in game 1, a little shaky in game 4, but what you saw in game 1, you know he's got the mental makeup to make a difference here. And I wouldn't have trusted Darvish. And maybe that's because I've seen Darvish so much this year.
A little jaded. I agree. Yeah.
Maybe I'm a little jaded. Maybe, he looked at it and said, you know what? He's been strong for us in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm going to trust him. But, dude, it wouldn't have been me. I'm serious. I would have went Kershaw because I think he's the best pitcher in baseball.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And if I got the best pitcher in baseball and I've got a game 7,
right.
Why would I not go with that guy?
Right.
Who has told me he can give me 4 innings.
Right.
You give me 4 innings of that great stuff, because it's a difference. Because pressure mounts as the innings draw to a close.
Right.
If I get that out of Kershaw for those first 4 innings, we're talking about a different baseball game.
Well, no doubt, because then you've got Morrow for 2, you've got Jansen for 2, and then at that point you could actually go to, if you needed to, Darvish to close the game.
Well, I don't know if you go to Morrow. I mean,
he went to Morrow before he went to Kershaw.
Well,
to finish out the second.
Oh, that's right. That's
right.
Yeah. But, see, me personally, I thought Morrow lost. Was it game 4?
Well, he gave up 7 runs on 9 pitches.
Yeah.
But remember, he had already pitched 3 days in 3 consecutive games.
True.
That was a managerial decision that you're going, what are you doing? Now, again, it's so beneficial for us to be able to do this on this side of the.
No, I think we could quarterback the management decision because, pulling Rich Hill as early as he did, what was that, game 2?
2, yeah.
I mean, you immediately put stress on your bullpen. I don't care if it is the best one in baseball. You know you're in for a long series.
Right.
You know you're going to need these arms. Why are you putting so much stress on your bullpen this early when you don't have to?
Sure.
You weren't going to sweep the Astros.
No.
You were not.
No, not with those bats.
So why are you putting this kind of stress on this is going 6 or 7. There is no way this isn't going 6 or 7.
Right.
So you don't pull Rich Hill after, what was it, 4?
Was it even that many? Did he finish 4?
I don't know if he.
I don't even remember if he finished 4 or not. It's just
it was in the 4th.
Yeah.
You pulled him in the 4th. And the guy was going good. Then you turned around and did it to him again.
I know.
You put
his curveball in that game 6, incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It was such a great series, that 12-13 game that we saw.
You would never, ever, ever expect a game started by Clayton Kershaw and Dallas Keuchel to have 25 runs scored.
And I don't know if that played a part into it because Kershaw didn't look strong that particular outing.
No.
But I still say, if I've got the best guy
doing
the thing that he does best on my staff, I start that guy.
Right.
Until it's proven that he can't go on this short rest. Until it's proven, I'm putting him out there. And I know he's had problems in playoffs before.
Sure.
But this year, it seemed like it was the Dodgers' year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It did. To me, it seemed like the Dodgers' year. And surprising enough, I think there were some managerial mistakes.
Yeah.
Not starting Kershaw, not allowing Rich Hill to pitch a little bit longer. I think there were some managerial mistakes.
Man, amazing to watch. Amazing that a team like Houston that 3 years ago lost 111 games.
They tanked, though, Jimmy. They intentionally tanked.
Okay.
They
it's hard to tank 111 games, though. Man, I get it.
They tanked their way to the top.
Okay.
I know. Am I being a hater when I say that?
Yes.
I am.
Yes, you are.
I am. Well, you know what? I hate it.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and be upfront. I hate it. I hate that Houston has one before us. Yeah, let's support. Let's do this and that. No, I hate it. I hate it because I feel as though there's a little bit of cheating that goes on.
Of course.
Just tank yourself to the top, and that's what they did. They tanked to the top, man. But not.
Hey, they got a World Series ring, and we don't.
That's what hurts.
Yeah.
That's what hurts.
And we got a team built around with a core age of like 33, and they're sitting on a core age of like 24.
We've got, in Josh I trust, but Josh has to come with it.
And it ain't going to happen in 1 year.
It's as strong as that team is. Is that the best hitting team, top to bottom, that you've seen? Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, man. How long do we have to go back?
You got to go back to mid-2000s Yankees with Jeter, Bernie Williams, Paul O'Neill,
When Posada was good.
Posada, Curtis Granderson, all those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Boone. Brett Boone was, just killing it.
They
Dude,
might be better than that.
they probably are.
They might be better than that.
They probably
might have to go back to Oakland, Canseco, and
88, 89 Oakland.
The Bass brothers.
God, Dave Stewart,
Yeah, you might have to. Ricky Henderson leading off.
Walt Weiss, and
You might have to go back pretty
Yeah.
far to find one that's.
dude, it's incredible.
But let me ask you this, because there were more home runs hit in this series than in any World Series previously. And they broke the record in like Game 5.
Right,
You tell me, Jimmy. Players juiced, ball juiced.
the ball. I think it's the ball. A lot was talked about how slick the World Series baseballs were, which prevents the pitchers from getting as much movement on it. Hitting is so good. Home run. Let me clarify. Home run hitting is so good in Major League Baseball right now. There is the thought of the juice player again, but it's not size anymore. How are you juicing for bat speed? That's what I don't get. These guys aren't big. Altuve is 5'6" on a good day.
Well, they're not as big as they were during the steroid era.
Yes.
Obviously. But I'm still not completely sold that it's not some juice involved in this.
Because HGH is coming into play at some point.
Yes, and that's my point. When you're not testing for this particular thing,
Yes.
there's no blood testing, these guys are smart enough to know. And if I got $200 million on the line, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. We had more home runs hit. And I'm telling you, when I look at a guy like Altuve, when I look at some of these smaller guys with this kind of power, it does kind of lend itself to me saying something is amiss. And I was there for the steroid era, and I'm a believer that if something doesn't look right, it probably isn't right.
Sure.
If it smells fishy, it's probably fish.
Right.
So I'm sorry. You can't tell me that the home run hitters of today have, Mark McGwire. What was Mark McGwire? About 260?
Oh, he's a big dude.
Yeah, about 260.
When him and Sosa were doing the battle,
these guys were humongous.
Huge.
And you're getting players hitting home runs at that rate.
yeah.
The Mark McGwire homer every 8 at-bats at that rate, and they're like half of his size.
I know.
Something is amiss with that to me.
That's
Jimmy.
what I'm saying. Whatever it is, when we find out what it is, it's not roids, but it's something that's giving them an improvement on an ocular level because they're seeing the ball better. It's giving them an improvement on hand and just bat speed. That's what I don't get is...
No, these were moonshots, man.
I
These
know.
These were being powered out. Second deck, upper deck. These are powered out by these little bitty guys that weigh, less than what you weigh.
Man, I'm with you, but there's no size to them.
That's that's what's catching me up on.
I know. So, it's going to be something that it'll come out. It will come out.
I gotta wait. I'm thinking it's HGH.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's human growth hormone that these guys. I think there's some blood doping, and you can do blood doping. People gotta remember this. You look at your average cyclist. What does he go about 125?
Right.
So you can blood dope for different things, and it doesn't put that muscle mass on you.
Right.
So, that HGH, the blood, we'll find out. I don't want to taint it for people that are celebrating in Houston right now, but it just looks a little fishy to me.
Sure. No, I'm with you, man, because...
And I'm the guy who was saying years before, Lance Armstrong, he's doping.
Oh, no doubt,
There's no. And I was saying, you got to understand in cycling, everybody's doping, and he's beating everybody that's doping.
Right.
And you can't convince. And you got to the hills, you got those mountains.
He's not even standing up, and he's sitting going past these people.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and I mean, he's beating them by minutes, which is big in cycling.
Oh, 10 seconds is big in cycling.
And you're like, there's no way. This isn't even humanly possible.
Right.
What we're seeing.
Right.
On a national. What was the guy's name that he was always beating? What was the cyclist that he always kind of passed, and he finished second, and Lance would finish first.
Was he the American?
No, well, I know it was like 4 out of 7 top finishes one year were American.
Right.
No, it was one that was from, might have been Switzerland, something like that. Ulrich?
Yeah, Jan Ulrich.
Jan Ulrich.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jan Ulrich. He just passed him up like he's standing still. And this guy was doping.
Right.
He's been convicted of doping.
Right.
And you knew he was still doping. He's as hard as he can. And Lance just...
Hey, like you got a little motor on the bike down there.
Yeah. Hey, what? This is utterly ridiculous. So sometimes when it doesn't look right to me, Jimmy, and I'm a child I grew up '98 during the Sammy Sosa,
Oh, yeah.
Mark McGuire era, where I was like, something's amiss here,
Right.
and we thought it was the balls, and it turned out to be the player.
Right.
Your thought is it's the reverse this time.
In the
ball
World
and not-
Series, because I just think that without the pitcher's ability to get as much break on the ball, as good as these guys, it might be a combination of both now. Again, because if they can see a ball that's moving straighter and they can swing faster, well, that's going to be further power behind these shots. So either way, you're right. Something seems very amiss here.
Mm-hmm.
And so super enjoyable, super fun to watch because it created leads and comebacks over and over. So from just a pure fan standpoint of watching, the spectatorship of this series was insane.
It was.
So
it was a good series.
Without having a dog in the fight, it made me want to watch every game. And that's rare when it comes to a baseball game that I have no attachment to either of the teams.
Right.
So
I intently watched too.
Yeah.
It got a pretty good rating.
it beat Sunday Night Football the first time.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well,
now,
we know.
I still what was it? Detroit.
Yeah.
And
Pittsburgh.
No, those are two pretty good markets though.
Right.
And it's still football.
It's football. Right.
Yeah. So maybe. I heard someone mention that they believe that if you get a couple more World Series like this, with the problems you're seeing in the NFL,
Yes.
there could be a changing of the guard upon us.
And you think contracts are big now?
I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think football is too embedded in the American conscience
Sure.
now. I think
It'd be neat to see that battle, though. I mean, I don't know.
I think basketball is still closer to dethroning football
I
than
agree.
baseball is.
I agree.
But, people are throwing it out there now. That's because we're on the high
Of course.
Great World
Well,
Series.
you just got to watch it. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Let's talk a little bit about football. Since we're going that direction, let's bring it up. I think
Okay.
we talked enough World Series. Let's talk about the fun stuff. You know what the fun stuff is, Jimmy?
What is that?
The Cowboys of Dallas defeated on this weekend the Redskins of Washington.
So many asterisks beside this win. So many.
asterisks. Okay. Now both of us thought it was going to be a Cowboy win going in.
Yes.
So it wasn't a
Yeah.
shocker. And we both attributed to the Redskins' offensive line pretty much
Oh
being
my
made
God!
up of guys they pulled off the street.
Yes, and for what they had, I mean, Dallas still dominated the line. They dominated the line.
4 sacks.
So, and on the other side as well, Zeke was able to run wherever he wanted to. I will say that Kirk Cousins played a game that thoroughly impressed me.
Really?
He really did. And
I didn't know you could be impressed by Kirk
Well,
Cousins. I begin to
let me start with the bad, though. Kirk Cousins has got to learn to throw the ball away. 3 of those sacks, he can get rid of the ball. He's outside the pocket. He can get rid of the ball, and he tucked it every time. Parcells used to talk about hidden yards. You know, that if you start losing the hidden yard battle, the stuff that's not really tracked, average sack, you lose 7 yards. Dude, that's 2 first downs. If it's 21 yards that they lost, it's 2 first downs. In a rain-soaked game, first downs are at a premium. And Kirk Cousins was putting some balls right on point. 7 dropped passes from his receivers.
I don't know what's going on in Washington as far as from a receiver standpoint. You bring in Terrell Pryor, and he's completely washed out.
Oh,
I mean,
non-existent in the game plan.
Yeah. Josh Doxson, looks like you're not sure exactly what you have there. We finally saw some balls thrown towards Jamison Crowder for the first time all season.
Right.
And he looked good.
Looked
catching
great.
it.
Looked great.
I mean, I was asking myself, why haven't we seen more Jamison Crowder?
I don't know.
And he had a good season last year.
He sure did.
But the first 6 games of this year, the Washington coaches have decided, we'll keep him out here. And he's a great blocking receiver. And I
He
understand
is,
why they keep him out there. But we're going to keep him out there, but we're not going to throw him the ball at all. So I didn't understand.
He was going across the middle without fear and taking the ball and making people miss. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guy had, 11 catches for 123? I mean, he had a great game.
Great game.
You know, but like you said, he's almost like Cole Beasley. For some reason, a great season last year, I don't really need you in the game plan anymore.
I don't understand it. Well, at least Cole has caught some balls.
Some. But yeah.
Jamison Crowder's been completely ignored.
Right. But when you bring in Terrell Pryor to be your number one guy.
But you didn't throw him the ball either much.
No, I know. You remember at the beginning of the season, even in preseason, I told you about how Kirk Cousins and Terrell Pryor cannot get on the same page for some reason. And it still looks exactly the same.
Yes.
I don't know if it I go back and that game I watched a couple times. And granted, I don't have all the camera angles, but I'm trying to watch plays with Terrell Pryor as much as I can. Because one thing I think you tend to get is if a receiver is thought to be their number one and is not getting the targets, you can go back and watch and see how lazy his routes are.
And the body language gets really
It's
bad.
pathetic. It is pathetic. And so at this point, Terrell Pryor has said, yeah, I'm not playing here anymore. That is what it looks like to me.
Looks like LaMarcus Aldridge in San Antonio.
Thank you. But LaMarcus Aldridge just got $73 million for playing like that.
Yes, he did.
But Dallas was amazing to go back to the game plan that works. Zeke up the middle, Zeke to the left, Zeke to the right. Dak had a very subpar game.
Zeke outrushed Dak's passing. That lets you know. But that also means that we were controlling the line of
Well,
scrimmage.
no
too,
doubt.
and Dak didn't have to
And
do much.
why wouldn't? Because you didn't have to throw, and even if you did, the play action would be such a dominant force at that point. But one last thing on the Redskins side of the ball again. Jordan Reed. I say at the beginning of the season,
Jordan Reed is lying about his age. He must be about 94 years old.
my suggestion.
You touch him, he's
My
hurt.
suggestion is at the beginning of the season, you walk up to the side of him with a ball-peen hammer and just whack his knees and be like, at least you got hit getting hurt.
I'm telling you, Jordan Reed must be 95 years old. Someone check his birth certificate because this guy cannot run without hurting himself.
Dude, it is so bad.
It's RG3-ish.
It is.
It's RG3-ish.
It is. So I will say this. Dallas, from the controlling the line of scrimmage and running the ball, looked as good as they can. I truly believe that.
Well, you also gave him 3 turnovers, too. And the block field. Let me tell you something. That game really was lost on one play.
Oh, you had a 10-point swing in 1.5 plays, basically.
For those that didn't see it,
Redskins
were up 7-3.
No.
I'm sorry.
They were up. They were up 16 to.
No, they would have went up 16-7. So
that's right, 13-7.
Back it up, 13-7. Yeah, back it up. So they would have been up. They were up 13-7. Another field goal, which would have put them up by 9 at that point.
And in a game like that, 2 scores down is tough.
It's wet. This is a wet field, so you don't expect to have a lot of scoring on a wet field.
Right.
And so, the passing's not going to be there. There's going to be some inaccuracy. You just
don't worry about it. Sorry, America. Everything's fine.
First the dancing.
Yeah, I don't know how to work chairs.
I'm going to record that.
You know you're out of shape when you don't know how to sit down right.
I'm going to snap a picture of the way you look when that happened to you. But that was a turning point in the game.
No doubt.
You just turned a 16-7 lead into a 14-13 deficit.
Yeah.
That play, and I don't know if you said you watched it a couple times.
Yeah.
That ball had no air under it.
I
could have blocked that.
Right.
And I could probably jump about 6 inches off the ground right now. I got about a 6-inch vertical. And I'm telling you, that ball pretty much ran into his hand.
Right.
And if he wouldn't have blocked it, David Irving was right behind him.
You're not getting it over David Irving.
Yeah, he's kind of tall.
6'10" David Irving's got to.
So he was about to block it.
Yes.
It was a horrible, horrible kick.
Well, and if you saw, both of them had horrendous snap transfers. Mm-hmm. The snap was bad. The setting down was bad. The first one that Kai Forbath made, shocked that he got it through.
Right.
But the second one, you saw it come through. It went too far through the. I can never remember the punter's name. Yeah. Anyway, it was not good from the snap of the ball.
Right.
And again, that's what you're dealing with backup linemen. You got a deep snapper that is not used to snapping deep, and his first game he's got to do it in the rain. It's a recipe for disaster.
It was a bad kick, though.
No, I don't get me wrong. I get it.
Bad kick.
Yeah.
And it was a momentum swinging kick for the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, because
I will tell you, I thought that one play is
there's your game right there.
Yeah.
Well, what's shocking to me, Vince, is Dallas was getting beat by a team that I truly believe, went into that game going, not that I ever think a team does the whole, we're looking past this game to Kansas City. I don't think teams do that.
I do.
Well, I think Dallas kind of had the mentality going into this, though, that it was, man, they're all hurt. This is an in-division rivalry game on the road. You better be prepared to play. And I don't think Dallas was for the first quarter and 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. I really don't.
I'm with you.
And
you go into that halftime 16-7.
Oh.
That's a different game. And I think Washington had the ball right after halftime.
They were getting the ball.
So,
because, as we've spoken about before, Jason Garrett is about as bad as it comes at halftime adjustments.
Right. That was your ball game.
Yeah.
I really do believe that was your ball game. And then when you came back after halftime, now you allow the defensive line, because now you got to throw.
Exactly.
You can no longer run power football.
Yep.
Because, and I hate to say it, but your guy, Rob Kelly, Fat Rob, 19 yards. There's not much of a running game here.
Nope.
But at least you could have ran and punted. But now you've put yourself in a position where you have to pass in the rain with, I'm not sure how many it was by the end of the game, how many backup linemen we were up to.
Oh, my God.
We started with 3. I think we ended with about 5. I think all 5.
6 of them. Six.
Yeah. Back. Yeah, so now you've got the worst line probably in football at that time.
Right.
Going against a defensive line that has proved it can dominate games.
Yes.
And it took that offensive line out to the woodshed for the rest of the game.
Done.
But it was all about how the game played out, though.
Right.
If you're winning, you're not dropping back to pass like that.
Nope.
You're not. The defense isn't pinning their ears back.
Exactly.
Just rushing the passer, getting to the spot where they expect the quarterback to be.
Right.
Now I've got to respect the run. You took that completely off the table. Next thing you know, they're throwing the ball, and this is what we do best as a defense right now, which is rush the passer.
Right.
It's crazy to say it. That's why I'm almost in disbelief myself. The best thing Dallas defense does is rush the passer.
That is weird to say. I know.
Really, yeah, you got to check yourself when you say, wow, okay. But the best thing they do is rush the passer.
I know.
And you play that. The game ended up playing into our strength, definitely playing into your weakness.
Well,
and Redskins fan.
Even more so with it being wet and having receivers drop the ball, it helps Dallas's secondary, which is not the best in the league, look a little bit better and probably built some confidence for them, even though it wasn't necessarily their stellar play from a secondary standpoint, as much as it was the Redskins' just complete inability to play football,
right?
Which is what they're paid to do.
Right.
As I sat and watched that game in disgust, that second half, again, Josh Doxson, you'll remember this play. Josh Doxson beats his man down the sideline. Jones, who's the cornerback?
Well, Byron Jones.
Byron Jones, safety, yeah. He beats him handily. Kirk Cousins has to throw a high arcing pass, but it falls perfectly in
it was
the
perfect throw.
And Doxson, it slides right through. I don't know that any part of Doxson actually touches the ball.
Yeah, I remember the play.
And you're going, now he wouldn't have scored because there was help coming over, but that's a 30-yard play.
Right.
If you needed momentum, that gives you some right there.
Well, you can chalk that up. I do believe you have coaching losses sometimes in a season, and I also believe you have GM losses sometimes in a season. And when you look at them letting their 2 starting wide receivers go, Pierre Garçon and Deshaun Jackson, this is what you get.
Right.
And I know they thought Terrell Pryor was going to take the place of Pierre Garçon or Deshaun Jackson. He was going to be the guy that's going to pick up the slack. But it has not happened, and that is a GM loss. Because Kirk Cousins' leading receiver right now is his third down back, Chris Thompson.
Yeah. Who is a weapon.
He is a weapon.
Oh, my gosh.
But he shouldn't be your primary weapon in the passing game.
No, not at all. You know, when you look at how the Redskins were practicing in the early preseason in the first week of the year, they thought to themselves, we're going to be able to run a lot of 2 tight end sets because we got 2 good receiving tight ends that you have to respect both of.
Yes.
That's a nice position to be in because of how athletic tight ends have become. I mean, you look at the Kelseys of the world, the Jordan Reed when he's healthy, which is never anymore.
When he's healthy, he's a top 3 tight end in the league.
Right. So you have to respect that, and linebackers cannot cover those guys.
You can't cover Vernon Davis with a linebacker.
No.
Vernon Davis came into the league running about a 4.4, and for the last 2 seasons, looks like he ran a 4.7. This season, he looks like he's back down to a 4.4.
Yeah, he looks great.
Yeah.
But you have to have that both side effect, and it's not there. Washington, the problem is you're not going to get healthier as the season goes on. You're not.
Explain the Jordan Reed situation to me, because I'm not really understanding why he's always hurt.
Dude, you watched it. He was running and he cut. That's all he did, and wasn't running hard. And suddenly, now my leg hurt, my ankle hurts, my knee hurts. Dude, it's...
Did I send you that text? He's the villain in Unbreakable?
Yes. He's Mr. Glass.
Yeah, he's the villain in Unbreakable.
Dude.
If you guys remember that movie with Bruce Willis. Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson played Mr. Glass. And no matter what happens, injury finds him.
Right.
And so, man, Washington had put themselves in a great position to play spoiler in the NFC East.
Well, to be frank with you, if they win that game, both teams are 3-3. Whoever lost that game lost their opportunity at the playoffs.
Yeah, it's gone.
Whoever won that game gives themselves an excellent shot at the final wild card.
Right.
And I think Washington losing that game,
done.
I think it's done. Yeah,
done.
I think it's done.
And,
because you got Carolina, you got New Orleans, you got the Rams. You got too many teams that are going to be vying for the number 1 wild card spot. Number 2 wild card spot's going to have to get I'm thinking now we're looking at probably 10 games.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Just for the second wild card spot.
Right.
So I think it's done for Washington in the playoffs.
I agree. It breaks my heart, but they gave me a little bit of hope through the first 5 games of the season, and then just it fell apart. So because
this is how teams fall apart, though. Because if you remember, there's always a team that shoots out to a pretty good start and then falls apart as the season goes on.
Right.
And Washington's offensive line may be the reason why that's happening to you guys.
You pair that with terrible receivers. I'm sorry. This is a bottom 3 receiving core in the league.
I agree with that, especially if you take out Jordan Reed, and you have to take him out.
You have to because he takes himself out.
Right, he takes himself out.
You do that, you've got Terrell Pryor, who seemingly just doesn't care. He's cashing a check.
Jamison Crowder's the only one on the team that I feel anywhere comfortable about.
Yeah, because Ryan Grant doesn't look dependable. Vernon Davis, I just don't think can keep up at his age.
He looks good.
So,
and he's been saving himself for the last 2 years because he hasn't done
I know. But, dude, injuries is what's plaguing the NFL. We talked about it last week. Who can remain healthy?
I say it all the time. It's a battle of attrition. I was on a show on Monday, and I'm a Cowboy fan.
Sure.
So the guy on the show was an Eagles fan.
Okay.
You guys can go out there and watch it. It's the Straight from the Hip show. It came on Monday. And he told me that the NFC East race was over.
Already done.
It's done. It's done. Jimmy, is it done? Let me ask Jimmy, the sports aficionado that he is.
I will say this. If Carson Wentz can continue to impress, he is showing more mobility than I expected.
Yes.
But how many times do we have... They made a movie called The Blind Side. You have to have somebody... there's a reason your 3rd highest player typically paid... your second or 3rd highest paid player is your left tackle.
The 3 highest are, and we'll call them out. Yeah. You normally have quarterback, pass rusher, left tackle.
Yes. Those are 3 things. You got somebody that's going to touch the ball every time, and then you've got 2 players that are basically going across from each other every time. So when you lose one of those... If you lose any one of those, you have made a significant impact to your overall game plan.
That's right.
Quarterback, most importantly, because if you in today's NFL, if you do not have a quality quarterback, you can't win. Speaking of, Cleveland tried to trade for A.J. McCarron because they thought that was the fix.
I'm not sure they really tried to. I think it was a half-ass try to because, the trade.
I know, they didn't such a debacle. Well, but now Cincinnati's taking the blame because they're the ones going, we didn't recognize that email address, so we just ignored it.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So, it's... Anyway.
That's Cleveland got... Political.
But guess what? Cleveland, it was a terrible trade for them.
Yes, it was.
They were giving up 2 good draft picks for A.J. McCarron.
And you're going to draft high. You can get the quarterback.
I know.
So you're really giving up 2 draft picks for 8 games. 8 games. Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous.
I know.
This is how you stay Cleveland.
Right.
Because you've had to see. I can rant on Cleveland.
Dude, I'm with you.
It's easy to rant on Cleveland. You know what? I'm not going to even do it.
I was about to say,
it's too easy.
America,
too easy.
go back a month and a half or 2 months and listen to us rant on New York Knicks basketball, and it's the exact same conversation.
Because these are all – Hugh Jackson is 1-24 since he's been coach of Cleveland, and these are GM losses.
Every one of them.
I'm telling you, because what have they got? They have not – and you got to remember, they're drafting at the top of the draft each and every year.
Their top draft pick this year just put himself in concussion protocol.
Last year with Carson Wentz, Jared Goff on the board, you need a quarterback.
Right.
You've needed a quarterback since Bernie Kosar retired.
Right.
You need a quarterback. You got 2 of them up there. You have the number 1 pick. What do? This is a no-brainer for 31 organizations
no
in
doubt.
the NFL.
Yeah.
But for Cleveland, it's nah. Nah. You know what we ought to do? Let's trade down.
Yeah.
Let's trade down. Let's get less talent.
Yeah. Cleveland doesn't need more draft picks. They need to pick better.
Yes.
With the ones that they give themselves. They get a top 4 pick.
They just had the number 1 pick this year. They took Myles Garrett.
I know.
Who put himself
in concussion protocol.
And I do believe he's a quality defensive
I don't
end.
disagree.
But
he doesn't score any points.
So you've had the number 1 pick 2 years running. No quarterback.
Yeah.
No quarterback.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, sure enough, he just tore his ACL. But Deshaun Watson, you have a quarterback right there. It's just a poorly ran organization.
You have a quarterback that beat the dominant SEC for a national championship. No, it's insane.
It's insane. It's insane.
You and I both would love to be in that war room when they're just sitting there with their arms crossed, and then when they decide who their pick is, you just kind of start going, what in the world are you guys thinking?
And they'll do something stupid for – it's so easy. They're such an easy target.
Oh, I know.
I was about to get into Deshaun Kaiser and all this other stuff, but I'm not going to even do it.
No.
I'm going to save my breath. Just understand, Cleveland is the worst ran organization in football.
In sports?
Ooh. Phil Jackson's Knicks got to go in there.
Philly,
he's not
76ers have to be up there.
No, I believed in the process. At least they knew, okay, we're going to tank. We're going to tank ourselves to the top because we're going to get assets. Now, you might say drafting 4 years in a row, drafting power forwards may not be the right to go.
True, yeah.
But overall, you now have young talent in Philadelphia. You've got Ben Simmons, who looks to be a legitimate future All-Star. Sure. You've got Joel Embiid, if he can stay healthy. And I'm telling you, the guy is an absolute monster.
Sure.
You've got some building pieces, some foundation. Where's the foundation in Cleveland?
Yeah, no, it's
Name the one player that you said. Joe Thomas was the last.
Yeah, he was your one.
He was the one. And Joe Thomas is about 51 years old and finally got hurt.
Right.
That's the only foundational player that you have on your roster.
Yeah.
And you've been drafting at the top of the draft year after year after year. I could run the organization better, Jim.
I agree.
You and I could run that organization better. Because I guarantee you this, we could run it no worse.
Right.
I could be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, and I guarantee you, after the 24 games that Hugh Jackson has coached, I guarantee you he could be no better than one game better than me.
Right.
Because I can lose them all.
Right.
He's only won one. He would only be one game better than me. That's all I got to say about it. I'm going to leave Cleveland alone.
All right.
Okay, but as long as we're talking football.
Yes, we need to talk. There's a number of things going on in football.
Number of things. Let's talk. What do you got that you'd like to talk about the NFL?
One, I just wanted to touch on quickly because we were talking injury. Andrew Luck put on the IR, which you saw coming.
Knew it was coming.
Andrew Luck is an example to me of talent being wasted.
And in Indianapolis,
yes,
which is probably the second worst ran organization in the National Football League.
I just see it being the fact that, now granted, he's getting paid.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
He signed that big money deal.
Yeah. So it's sad to see that because Luck is a fun player to watch play.
He's a great player.
Yeah.
This guy brought Indianapolis 10 wins.
Right.
He's not quite Peyton Manning, y'all. We're not comparing there,
not at all.
But he's a notch below that.
Right.
If you can take that roster to 10 wins, you've got a talent on your hands. Andrew Luck is a great football player. He's one of the top, I would say, 10 quarterbacks in the NFL.
I would agree.
Now.
Yeah.
But it sounds like, and I'm whenever people start talking about that shoulder injuries shouldn't take a season.
Oh, dude, it's more than that. It's got to be more than that. There has to be nerve damage. And we all know nerve damage don't come back. Nerves don't regenerate. You can work through it, but you don't have feeling. And guess what a lot of throwing the football is feel.
And in the pros, it's velocity because I've got to fit it in a tight window with guys that run 4.3s.
Right.
If he comes back, it wouldn't surprise me at all. And I hate to say this because but I kind of foresee it. You heard it here first. He's going to lead the league in interceptions.
Yeah.
Because the velocity is not going to be there.
Yeah.
He may need 2 seasons. Hopefully, if he's back to being Andrew Luck in 2 seasons, the Colts won.
Oh, agreed.
Agreed. If he's back, not this season coming up, but the season after that, if he's back to being, but there's a good chance that we have already seen the best of Andrew Luck.
And I feel that's what we're seeing.
And I know Jimmy's the master of doom and gloom. That's not really me. Really, I'm usually a pretty positive guy, but I'm telling you, shoulder injuries do not take a year and a half.
No.
This is something more. And then when you start talking about setbacks,
yeah.
When you're talking about bones healing,
right.
You don't really have setbacks unless they re-break the bones.
Exactly. And you have access to the best doctors.
Yes.
Not nary a dime coming out of your pocket to cover any of this. They will fly Dr. James Andrews anywhere he needs to go.
How much money does that guy make?
It's got to be $1 million a day. Yeah, I mean, it's just insane.
Yeah. He's got more money than God.
So, but when you see these guys getting this kind of injury, which, okay, Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone. Painful, can't move. He's talking about being back this year.
Tony Romo, people in Dallas, you've seen it. Clavicle injury, double clavicle injury.
Yeah.
He could have played.
Broken ribs.
Could have played this year. Terry Bridgewater pretty much destroyed his knee. Destroyed his knee. He's back about a year and a half later.
Remember our man Adrian Peterson destroyed his knee, led the league in rushing the next year.
It's not supposed to take 18 months, people.
Right.
For a shoulder. For a shoulder.
So,
because even pitchers, they never Tommy John surgery. We put it back together.
Yep.
You're back to throwing 98 a year
exactly.
later.
So, Andrew Luck, I wish the best to you, but I hope that you come back. I really do. Give me your next point that you want to talk about.
Watson out for the year, man.
Yeah. Watching a kid put up monster numbers.
Yes.
No one expected this. And they started savage the first 2 weeks. What did you see in him that you're going, nah.
He's not ready.
Clipboard. Get him a clipboard.
It's laughable. It's laughable. But it's sad to see him. He tore his ACL today in practice, especially when it's in practice.
A non-contact
injury. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Jimmy, but it's similar to
Mr. RG3.
Mr. RG3, who, after his first injury,
done.
Yeah, it was not. And they're very similar players because RG3 took the league by storm, similar to what we saw out of Deshaun Watson. And I'm telling you, if you watch that Houston Texans Seattle game this week,
oh my gosh,
that was the most exciting game that I've seen this year.
Oh,
it was a
by
back
far
and forth between Russell Wilson and, I mean, you want to talk about Deshaun Watson staring him in the eyes and saying, it was a whatever you can do, I can do better. It was one of those games, and you got to see 2 players that were absolutely at the height of their power, executing on the field at an unbelievably efficient rate.
Right.
Doing battle one against the other. And I was totally impressed with Deshaun Watson.
What'd they both put up together? Like 950 total yards?
It was a game of Tecmo Bowl.
Because they both threw over 400 yards.
It was Tecmo Bowl. It was Tecmo Bowl. It wasn't even Tecmo Bowl 1.
It was Tecmo Super Bowl.
It was Tecmo Super Bowl.
Yeah, where if you had Bo Jackson.
Yeah. Everybody's just bouncing off.
Yeah.
It was a Tecmo Super Bowl game.
Yes.
And I mean, I hate to see Deshaun Watson go down the way that he did.
Yeah.
Because I would like to see how the season ended up for Houston.
No doubt. Because when you have teams like Oakland playing as poorly as they are, there's room every year. There's room. That's why they have wild cards. But there's room for 2 teams to sneak around, and next thing you know, it's wait a minute, these guys look okay. And we all know, like in most sports, just get in the tournament.
Yeah.
Because if you get in, you can cause a ruckus.
Deshaun Watson looked like the guy who said, I got next.
You know, it's what I thought about this morning, though, or not this morning, whenever I read about the injury today, as I'm sitting there going, does Houston try to trade back for Brock Osweiler? He's starting this week in Denver. What has happened to Denver?
Trevor Siemian. This is what happens to a lot of young quarterbacks. People don't know this, but they have the best defensive coaches in the world in the NFL.
Yeah.
Trevor Siemian, the book is out.
Yes.
They take into account what you cannot do well. This is the regression that we're seeing in Dak Prescott some year. They've identified he has a problem throwing outside of the hash marks. They're trying to capitalize on that.
And deep downfield.
Yeah. So
every player has tendencies.
Right.
A good defensive coordinator recognizes those.
They break them apart. They break them down. Trevor Siemian has been broken down.
I agree.
And there may be an opportunity for him to overcome that. It's going to take a lot more coaching. You got to remember, this guy has only been in the league. This is his second year.
Right.
So with coaching, sometimes you can start to develop those things to overcome what the defense is trying to take away.
Right.
But I don't know if he's going to get the chance in Denver because the clock's always ticking in Denver. I mean, those guys feel as though we've got to take advantage of this defense while we've got it. Right. So I don't know if you give him enough time to develop. I don't understand why Denver didn't bring in Tony Romo, to be honest with you. I thought that was an ideal match for him.
I agree.
But in the end, I think Trevor Siemian's done. I think the Denver offense is done. I think it's cooked.
And it's unbelievable. I'm not even saying this because it's the Cowboys, but that second week game where they just steamrolled Dallas.
Oh yeah.
And Trevor Siemian looked legit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that feels like 6 months ago.
It does. It does. And I guarantee you he's going to run into those problems moving forward because once one defense does it, you're going to see defense after defense after defense.
Yeah.
It's not going away until you can beat it.
Exactly.
And that's where we're at. With
exactly. So,
but a couple of trades.
Oh, just about to say.
A couple of trades. Miami sent Jay Ajayi to Philadelphia.
Yep.
For a fourth-round pick. What are you doing, Miami? What are you doing?
Trying to be Cleveland.
What are you doing, Miami? You got an effective runner. You probably got the worst offensive line in football. And so you go trade away your back because he's not getting yards when you know you got the worst offensive line in football. This is ridiculous. And we get a fourth-round pick back. Now, Jay Ajayi was just drafted, and I want to think, I can't remember exactly. Now, don't quote me on this if I'm wrong, you guys. But I want to say he was a third-round pick.
Yeah.
He was third round?
Yeah.
So we just took a guy who is coming off a great second half to last
season.
He had two 200-yard games. And you go give him up for less than what you got him for after he's proven to be a legitimate NFL starter. Explain it, Jimmy.
Vince, you just mouthed it all out. There is no explanation. It's GM sitting there going,
we got to do something.
We got to do something. We got to make change for change's sake. And I've never, ever understood that because, yes, does it appease your fan base in the short term just so they can have something to go, well, maybe this fourth rounder will work out because this season's shot. Miami knows they're not going anywhere, especially with Cutler. And he's back this week, so that's a loss. So I just see
But your marbles aren't in on Cutler. You have an actual quarterback.
I agree. No, I know, but it's just
– it's on IR.
Miami is another organization that doesn't know how to get out of its own way.
They shoot themselves in the foot. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
They constantly pick their leg up. You can't see it on camera here, and I can't lift my leg that high. But they constantly
he didn't do yoga today.
They constantly take their boots off, look at their foot, pull out the six-shooter, and bam, 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 bam. They unload on themselves. Yeah. Miami and Cleveland just horribly ran organizations.
I know.
Why we can't get a job in football, Jimmy?
Dude,
GMing one of these teams.
I would do it for whatever they're doing it for. I'll do it for 20%.
20%.
I will save you 80% of the amount of money that you're spending.
And you can do no worse.
I can do no worse.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Jay Ajayi now goes to Philly. And Philly needed a running game.
Oh, yeah.
Philly needed a running game. They needed a back. They felt as though giving the ball to LeGarrette Blount too much.
Yes.
Isn't the right route to go.
Right.
Wendell Smallwood is kind of a smaller back, more of a third down back.
Right.
So now they've brought in a legitimate power back that can play every down.
And I wonder,
Jay Ajayi.
I've not paid enough attention to Jay Ajayi. How is he from a blocking perspective? Because, again, with Jason Peters out, there is slack that has to be taken up.
He's decent from a blocking perspective, but he is a very powerful runner.
Right.
And he can catch the ball out of the backfield.
Right, I do, yeah.
Yeah, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. Jay Ajayi is a good football player, man.
Yeah.
And you just gave him away for less than what you got him for just a year.
Dude, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Scratch your head, Jimmy. Scratch your head.
I would like to continue on how bad of an organization Cleveland is, if you don't mind.
I don't mind, bro.
Jimmy Garoppolo apparently is on the block for a second round pick. How is Cleveland not on the phone going, I'll give you a second rounder and a date with my daughter? I mean, they're claiming knew nothing about it.
Knew nothing about it.
So what is your GM actually doing if he's not? Are you not? Yeah. Are you not calling other organizations going, man, we need to make moves. What can we be doing? Because I will tell you this. What ended up transpiring is Garoppolo goes to San Fran. And because I truly think San Fran sees C.J. Beathard as somebody that they can develop, but he needs to hold a clipboard for a little while. Mm-hmm. Garoppolo's going to give you 2 to 3 years of quarterback play. I hate to ever say that the guys are a proven quarterback when they come out of New England, because we saw it with Matt Castle. Had a great season, then he goes elsewhere and can't do anything. But Garoppolo at least looks the part. He passes the eye test.
Yes, he does.
And so San Fran now has something that I'm not saying he is the best quarterback in the league, but you now have somebody that's been training under the best quarterback in the league and hopefully has picked up tendencies and can transpose those to the San Fran organization. Second part of all this, when that trade was announced, if I'm Kirk Cousins, I'm going, I'm sorry, what?
Right.
That trade changed the landscape of free agency next year.
Yes, it did.
Now, if I'm Kirk Cousins, I also can look and go, well, they're going to franchise me again for $37 million?
Whatever it is.
It's stupid.
It's ridiculous. Washington did it to them.
Bam! Hey, Miami, let me see your gun. I'm out of bullets, and I got another foot.
Just keep shooting themselves in the foot, man. But Cleveland, you're absolutely correct. I don't understand what they're doing. There used to be a Robin Harris joke where he talked about people just sitting there, always want to get work. They're just sitting around smoking weed, waiting on a knock on the door. Who is it?
Job!
That's what the Cleveland GM is doing. He's just sitting around his office, maybe smoking a little weed. Look, who is it? Quarterback. All right, come on in.
Hey, you got a spare quarterback? Yeah. You need to get your ass a spare job.
Yeah. Robin Harris broke it down. Cleveland is in this problem. Has this problem. They've earned their 1-23 record.
Yeah.
They've earned it.
Yeah.
And that is hard to earn when you pick as high as the Cleveland Browns year after year
after year. Dude.
That's hard to earn.
If you are a GM, Vince, give me 3 basic things that you think an NFL GM does on a day-to-day basis.
Well, number one, because I don't think it's a very complicated job.
No.
I think all you're doing is evaluating players, putting out calls to other GMs about players, yours and theirs.
Right.
And pretty much managing your salary cap.
Right. It's a sales job.
Yeah.
Here's what I got for you. What's it going to take to get it done?
Yeah.
I truly believe that's a GM's job. How has the phone call not been made weekly to New England?
Well, even if the price was a second-round pick, how do you not give up a second-round pick for a guy who, if he was in this year's draft, would be number one? He would be the number 1 quarterback taken. Why would you not give up a second round? I have no earthly idea.
Vince, you've worked in sales before, correct?
I have.
Okay.
A time or two.
So,
a year or two.
Does every sale go through on the first phone call?
No.
So, but if you believe in your heart of hearts that you're doing the right thing for both parties, you follow up, right?
We call it in sales, you drip on them.
You drip on them. Belichick, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
He needs an assistant GM.
You know he's not playing. Come on, let me.
Well, the asking price at the beginning of the season was a number 1 pick.
Right.
Now, right before the trade deadline, it's a second round pick. You're telling me you won't give up a second-round pick?
They're saying they didn't even know he was on the block. They're saying that's what I'm getting at.
Who is it?
Yeah, quarterback. No, we're good.
We're good.
We got Deshaun Kaiser. We're good.
Yeah. You guys aren't watching the games? 1-25 tomorrow. That's where we're going with this.
Dude, this is why you will continue to see the New Englands of the world. I believe the Dallases of the world. I think the reason Seattle continues to be good, with that horrible offensive line they have, they are constantly looking to be making the next move. Well, this crap is, I believe. Oh, what movie was it? This stuff is chess. It ain't checkers.
Right. Seattle bringing them up. There was a trade there too. Mm-hmm. They picked up Dwayne Brown.
Yep.
Picked him up for a third and a second round pick from Houston. I think they actually. I think Houston did a good job in this trade, but I think Seattle did a good job.
I was going to say this is the one. Is an even trade. I think right here. Yes.
This is a win-win because Seattle needs help on the line.
No doubt.
They can't run the ball at all, and the only person that's running is Russell Wilson for his life.
And I was about to say you don't want a quarterback running for his life.
And that's what Russell Wilson's been doing.
Right.
So kind of break-even trade there.
I completely agree.
That. I like what Houston did because Houston knows they're building for the future.
Right.
And you pick up a second in 2019 and a third in 2018.
Yes.
That's a pretty good move for Houston.
Yes.
And you've got a quarterback in place, and you've got wide receivers in place.
Right.
You'll be able to bring on. I think Foreman's not a bad young running back.
No.
You may be able to bring on a star running back, and you're going to be able to. You got Jadeveon Clowney on this side. We don't know what's going to happen with J.J. Watt. Because another year of injury, we might call him injury prone. Might say the best year.
Well, even more so, I think J.J. Watt, is growing from a maturity standpoint mentally to the point where J.J. Watt is married to Houston. I think. Mm-hmm. I think he loves the city. After the hurricane, you saw how he devoted everything he had to helping them clear out and rebuild. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised to see J.J. Watt accept that. You know what? These injuries are getting the best of me now. He wants to play. Nobody doubts that because when healthy, is there a better defensive player in the league? You'd be hard-pressed to find one.
Hard-pressed. So, J.J. Watt is that good.
But J.J. Watt will continue to be a presence as part of the organization of the Houston Texans.
I believe so.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see him get that front office / coaching position with that team and easily slide right into that. Because
it's going to be there for him.
J.J. Watt's been in the league how long? 7 years?
Yeah, but Jimmy, he's not going to walk away from probably another $60 million remaining in that contract.
Dude, I get it. But I don't know. I'm curious to see how it is because he seems like the type of guy also that's I don't think records mean anything to him. J.J. Watt's going to play another 14 years.
He's married. And when I say that, people understand what I'm saying is his wife's not going to let him walk away from that extra $60 million.
We've all seen Any Given Sunday.
Yeah.
Baby, I've had 19 concussions. You have 3, maybe 4 good years left in you.
You better believe it. That's exactly what's going on there. $60 million remaining? Oh, yeah, you better get out there. So,
What are we looking at time-wise?
Dude, hold on.
We got 15 minutes.
Okay. Well, then let's run through them real quick. Okay. Kelvin Benjamin traded to the Bills from the Panthers.
Are the Panthers just kind of saying we're done?
I know he's injury prone. I like it from the Bills standpoint because it shows that the Bills are willing to go for it. We're 5-2. We're surprised. We got a chance to win some games and make the playoffs. And I love it for the Bills because I like the idea because I thought they were fire selling at the beginning of the year. And now they're like, let's take on some assets. We think we can win 9 or 10 games and sneak into the playoffs and get some experience for our young roster. I love it for the Bills. For Carolina? What are you doing?
That's what I'm saying. Are they just basically going, we know we're not going to pay Kelvin Benjamin next year, so might as well see what we can get for him? I mean, this sounds like a baseball trade.
But Kelvin Benjamin was a first-round pick, wasn't he?
I don't know.
And so this is his 3rd year, right?
Which means they have an option on the 4th.
Well, yeah, you're still not going to pay him that big money.
Right.
Okay, so maybe it is more of a contract dump because we know we're not going to pay him. And if we can get a 3rd-rounder for him and a 7th,
I still don't get it, though. I mean, Freddie Funchess isn't. Yeah, that's the thing. And Carolina is winning games they shouldn't, but they're losing games they shouldn't either. They can't seem to get that foothold on a good direction.
I think what hurts Kelvin Benjamin is the fact that they went 15-1 without him a couple of years ago.
Oh, no doubt.
I think that's what they're. And We don't know what kind of input Cam puts in on that if Kelvin Benjamin is not where he's supposed to be on some of these routes.
Yeah.
But overall, I was surprised to see that particular trade.
That one was shocking to me.
Yeah. But Devin Funchess, you remember him? You mentioned him. Devin Funchess and Kelvin Benjamin are kind of like the same size.
Exactly.
164, 165. So you have a little bit of duality.
Right.
So maybe they looked at it and said, you know what, we've got this guy.
Right. Why be redundant?
Right. What we need is to get a speed guy on the other side, like Terry Glenn, who you let go. But I'm not going to go there with you. I'm just going to let you. I'm going to let you have it, man. I'm going to let you have it. Okay. Anything else NFL-wise before we?
Man, I can't think of anything. No. There's a couple things on the NBA I want to talk about.
Let's talk NBA.
So first and foremost, I echo my sentiment from last week. The Mavs may not win 20 games.
This is unbelievable to me.
They are that bad. Dude, Harrison Barnes is your number one guy, right?
Yes.
And he is not a number one.
No.
He's not.
He's a number 3 on a playoff on a top 4 playoff team.
Right. I don't know that Dirk can do much more.
Dirk's at the end of the road.
Yes.
Dirk needs to be a complimentary player off the bench for a playoff team.
Yes.
Watching him play heavy minutes exposes him defensively, and it makes him look like a shell of himself. You're doing him a disservice.
I want to tell you, I'm going to go ahead and name the Dallas Mavericks MVP of the year.
I know who you're going to say.
Who's that?
Wesley Matthews.
No, I'm going to say Nerlens Noel's agent because he told him to turn down the $72 million contract that we initially offered and do just the 1-year option. Nerlens Noel is proving that we would have significantly overpaid. Carlisle's done giving him minutes. If you look at his games this year, he's had one game over 20 minutes. He had 22 the other night. Mm-hmm. He's giving you nothing on either end of the floor.
And on defense, this is what kills me because he was supposed to be a defensive specialist, right?
Non-existent.
He's out of position
all the time.
So freaking much. This is why Carlisle doesn't play him.
Right.
Because you can't be, because you were brought in to be this defensive stalwart.
Yes.
You brought him in to play defense, and he's constantly out of position.
He's nowhere near.
You can't do what I brought you in to do. Let me show you the bench over
right.
here.
There's a nice seat over here for you. Enjoy your $4 million and have a good day. Somebody's going to pay him next year some money.
I don't think he's going to get anywhere near that.
No.
$18 million that we were talking about.
Yeah, that's
$15 million.
Yeah,
$18 million.
we did. We offered him 4 years, $18 million a year, and he didn't want that because he wanted a max deal.
Good luck, bro.
And he went on the open market, and not one team apparently made any kind of offer to him. So he said, "You know what? I got to get a max deal. I'm too stubborn to take this." So, and of course, once he did that, then the Mavs were like, "Actually, that deal's no longer there, buddy."
Right.
So, here's a qualifying offer. Do you want that? Cool. Here you go. And so I'm going to name the agent of Nerlens Noel who told him to turn that down as our MVP. Dennis Smith Jr. cannot be. He's a small guy.
Yeah.
I can't have him be the guy that's going to the rim on every play. He's going to get beat up. I'm sorry. I see an injury waiting. On top of what that's what I'm saying. That's my fear is what happens when I hate to be the guy that plans for an injury because so many players go through. I know, but dude, okay. I still watch Dennis Smith Jr. and say, man, that dude is a talent.
He is.
But I am fearful of what he's unfortunately being put into because there's nobody on this team playing above the level that they should be playing at.
Well, the thing about Dennis Smith Jr. is, and this is how I've looked at it, because sometimes players look better when there's a lot of talent around them, and sometimes players look worse when there's a little talent around them. I think he's getting caught up into that. He looks talented to you and I, but he's not going to get the recognition that I think he's deserving of because he doesn't play with a lot of talent.
Agreed.
Now, and people also got to remember the kid's only 19 years old.
That's
Dwayne Wade, when he came to the league, who I think is a comparable for him.
Sure.
Dwayne Wade came into the league after his junior season.
Yes.
Dennis Smith came after his freshman season. Let's see where Dennis Smith is in 2 years.
No doubt.
So, and let's get some talent around him
yes.
where I believe he will look better. I'm not out on him at all. Dirk won't be here to see his best years because I'm sure Dirk's probably saying to himself, shut me down now, and I'll retire after the season.
And that I'm hoping that's the case. Or trade Dirk right now. See, you're not going to get anything for it.
He doesn't want to play anywhere else.
I know, but I would love to see the guy get an opportunity for another ring. I don't want to see him in another jersey. But Dirk,
He's married to City.
Yeah, I know.
He's not. You won't see Dirk, and Dirk's not going to chase championships, which is good. And you know why he's not going to chase them? Because he's already got one. Yeah.
But boy, I thought that about Mike Modano too. And he went to Detroit. That's his hometown. I get it, but Detroit.
Yeah, but Dirk, there's no basketball team in Germany.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So we should be good there. We should be good. But
NBA overall, I don't know what's going on in Cleveland. I don't know what's going on in Golden State. But neither of these two teams look anything like. I know it's early.
It's too early.
I know it's early, but dude, I think if you watch Cleveland play, and their coach even said it, Ty Lue said it, they're not having fun. They are not enjoying going out and playing basketball, which is the passion for every player in the NBA.
They've got to get an energy player. I think Tristan Thompson just got hurt, but
yeah.
I'm not concerned about Cleveland because when you do it year after year after year, there's going to be some letdown from season to season. I think it's going on in Golden State right now. It's fine. But by the second half of the season, you'll see both of these teams going 12 and 15 games.
We know who the cream rises to the top. I get it.
Right.
But I'm just saying the NBA is starting off really weird this year.
I tell you what, though, the player who I have enjoyed watching most so far this year, the Greek Freak, is truly amazing.
Antetokounmpo Pekenko, or however you pronounce it.
The Greek Freak is amazing. If you watch this guy play,
it is insane.
He is going to the basket every bit as good as LeBron James in his prime going to the basket. He is that good. No one is stopping the Greek Freak from getting into the paint and finishing at the rim.
And enforcing his will. This guy is... You're starting to see, and pay attention, you're seeing defenders kind of... Oh, you got me. They don't want to get posterized. They don't want any part of this.
What I thought he's become when about 2 years ago, if you would have asked me, I would have said Anthony Davis is going to be that guy.
Yeah.
He has turned into, not to say Anthony Davis is bad, you guys, I think he's a phenomenal player, but he's turned into that next level player that I thought was going to be Anthony Davis.
Right.
And it is the Greek Freak because this guy, he brings it, and it looks like he's going to be the type of guy that brings it every freaking night.
Yep.
I love it.
No.
I didn't get a chance to see him versus Westbrook, but I do have it on my DVR.
Oh, you need to watch that.
I need to watch that?
Yes.
I have it on the DVR. I just got in a little late. But
So, speaking of OKC, they led the league in defensive rebounding efficiency last year. They can't rebound for squat now. How does that happen?
Carmelo.
Thank you.
You took away big guys that rebound. You replaced them with Carmelo Anthony.
And does Carmelo Anthony go to anywhere other than the three-point line?
Hold on. What does Carmelo do?
He scores.
Yeah, Carmelo. Hey, I'm going to sit out here, you guys.
You let me,
ball. I'm going to shoot this jumper right here. That's Carmelo's game.
Yeah.
And give it to me early shot clock. I'm going to hold it here. I'm going to hold it here.
Yep.
I'm going to take a couple of dribbles, and then I'm going to shoot it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing over and over. This is Carmelo's game. So you give up what they give up? Cantor?
Yes.
So those guys that you had in the middle that were there to rebound are no longer there. And even though Carmelo goes a solid 6'9",
he don't play 6'9".
No, Carmelo he's a wing player that doesn't want to get too close to the basket.
Right.
That's who Carmelo is. That's who he's always been.
I know.
So let's,
and I've said this a million times. Carmelo's the type of guy that he shoots, turns to the bench. Y'all got my check, right?
Yeah.
You got my check, right?
You saw that, right?
Yeah.
I made that shot.
Yeah.
I can do that all day.
Yeah.
You keep paying me.
You let's go. You what? Let's go to the bank together. We'll go to the bank together. We'll endorse it over. It's fine. Carmelo, you're on direct deposit. No, I want to see the check. Let's just give me that check.
Every morning when he gets paid, if it is direct deposit, first thing he does in the morning, it is not kiss his wife.
No.
It is not brush his teeth. He
checks
that bank account.
What's going on
Let's
there?
make sure that direct deposit happened there.
Yep.
Okay, we're good. Yeah, what is that? Yeah, $2 million. Yeah,
there we go. Yeah, it's good.
It's good.
Honey, is it supposed to be? Is that right? Okay, we're good. All right.
No, he's like, $2 million. That's what I was expecting. And I'm sorry. What was your name again?
Yeah.
We're married. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Put that phone
Is he still
over.
with
You don't even
Lala?
know.
Is he still with Lala?
Nah, I think they broke up
Oh,
behind
okay.
his.
Oh, that's right. He had some inconsistency in his vows, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, and Lala makes her own money, does well. It's not Carmelo.
I
Anthony,
bowled
but-
against her and Roy Williams one night off Beltline when the AMF at Beltline in Irving.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is this prior to Carmelo?
Oh yeah,
Did
yeah.
you take your shot?
What's that?
Did you take your shot? It's Lala. You didn't take
Oh,
your shot?
dude. First off, I took money off Roy Williams. That cat brought his own ball, but we were bowling heads up, and I was bringing heat that night, Vince.
So he's the guy that brought his own ball but can't bowl? Is that what?
I'm not saying he can't bowl.
He's just no Jimmy Clark.
I'm just saying Jimmy Clark could. That's what I'm getting at. So, but no, and she was sitting there, and
Was she with Roy Williams?
yeah, she dated Roy Williams before Carmelo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so she was in town, I guess. They were on some sort of date, and I even made a comment. I was like, just kidding around, but I was like, you want to get with a man that really knows how to bowl? You give me a call.
There you go, man. Do you want to go home with this loser?
Yeah.
Or do you want to
Cat
go
can't
home?
even tackle. Cat can't even tackle. He horse collars. That's all he does.
So, you want to go home with this guy?
Yeah.
Or this loser? Come on.
Come on. Now. I'm independently middle class.
Yeah, we're gonna leave that Benz alone.
La
leave
la
that
la
Beamer
la
alone.
la la la.
Get in the Honda over here. We're
Yeah.
gonna be good.
Yeah.
You're gonna be
Yeah.
good.
That's a Nissan. That's an import.
There you go. But you did take your shot.
Oh.
Just kind of a little
Failed
selfish.
miserably. Oh yeah.
Well, but you took the shot.
Yeah. You miss 100% of them. You don't take.
Hey, that's what Michael Jordan says. You know what? That just means that you were this close.
Close. Let's see. Roy Williams is more like. Anyway. So.
Well, hold on. Now, Roy Williams also dated Kelly Rowland.
Uh huh.
So he's got some pretty good notches on his
Oh,
belt there, doesn't he?
Roy's done well for himself.
Yeah. Now, he can't play in space as a safety.
No, not at all. And unless I can light you up like a missile,
Yeah.
I can't tackle you.
No. But he did break Emmitt Smith's shoulder.
Yep.
He's the guy that laid the hit. Two significant things about Roy Williams. Number one, well, we've already mentioned he dated Lala and Kelly
Right.
Rowland. That's pretty good. Engaged to Kelly Rowland. Number two, broke Emmitt Smith's shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last hit
Of Emmett.
Of Emmitt's career. And then
They created
number
the
three, his own former coach is the one who exposed him to not being able to play in space.
right.
You remember Sean Payton?
Sean Payton. Yep.
Against the New Orleans Saints.
Yep.
Roy Williams gave up 3 touchdowns, and all Sean Payton kept doing was isolating him
Yep.
one-on-one.
Yeah.
One-on-one, knowing he couldn't make the plays.
Right.
And next thing you know,
And the
he's out.
subset. The reason we have the horse collar rule
Oh,
is
yeah,
because of
yeah.
Roy Williams.
And that was a tackle on T.O.
T.O.
That was a tackle on T.O. I guess
Snap T.O.'s leg.
A
He
pretty significant NFL.
made his mark.
That's what I was about to say. Maybe not, Pro Bowl, but enough things that he contributed to the league. That
Right.
He changed it a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. Roy Williams, who would have thought it? Okay. I think we are winding down now, people. We appreciate you guys coming out to
Yep.
join us tonight. Come back on, let's see, on Saturday, we have The Adventures of a Fat Girl from 12 until 2. On Monday, Straight from the Hip, that's going to be from 8:30 to 10 with your girls Shabella Rose and Hollywood. Then on Tuesday, The Black of the Berry, that's going to be from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And then join us again on Thursday from our normal scheduled time. Will probably be normal time Thursday, 8:30 to 10. And we'll be breaking down sports as we always do in the greatest fashion ever done.
Yeah, and guys, we need to be checking, but if there's topics, things you want us to talk about, leave some comments, let us know. And, man, we're happy to touch on any point. We've definitely got opinions on everything.
And we do social. We don't just do sports, Jimmy. Tell them. We do
Yeah.
social things that are going on. We didn't even have a chance to talk about it. Did you see Chief of Staff, John, what's his name? The General.
Oh, with the texting? No.
The guy who said that there should have been a compromise.
Yeah.
So I won't get into it now.
Yeah,
But we might have to bring that up.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm like, what?
Yes.
Okay. But join us again. We will definitely have great conversation for you guys. Any finishing thoughts, Jimmy?
Yeah, we might even get into the videos they found on the American movies that were on Bin Laden's computer when we rated it.
Really?
They had like 60 movies with like Tommy Boy and all that on.
You kidding me, right?
Nope.
But, so this is kind of like what was the movie with Kim Jong Un that
The Interview.
The Interview, yeah. The kind of story like that. He
Yeah.
loves American culture.
Yeah.
That's the real
Yep.
secret. Wow, who would have thunk it?
So-
All right, thank you guys for joining us.
Definitely.
We'll be back. This is HighVibe Media Marketing Group, and this is Sports Rehab. All the sports addicts go. Holla at you next week.
See ya.
Kim Jong Un.
Jets are beating